Welcome to all participants joining us from around the world for this international webinar. The second session in our three-part series, Hong Kong Convention, organized by GMS, the world's largest buyer of ships for recycling. I am Dr. Anand Hiremath, your moderator for this session. I serve as the CEO of Sustainable Ship and Offshore Recycling Program, and I'm delighted to guide today this wonderful session, Navigating the Transition, Developments in Recycling Countries. This session is vital because the HKC is in force from today. A milestone that has taken over 16 years of collaboration, effort, and reform across the global ship recycling industry. Our focus today will be on the infrastructure updates, audit systems, and overall readiness of ship recycling industries in Indian subcontinent, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and as well as Turkey. This webinar is going to be for a period of 45 minutes, and it might extend a bit depending on the number of questions our participants are going to ask. Participants, please feel free to put your questions on a Q&A, and we will be able to take few questions at the end. Let me welcome our elite speakers for the day, starting with Dr. Abdul Rahim, who is currently heading as the Chief Maritime Strategy and Innovator Officer at GMS. Dr. Rahim is a maritime veteran having 4 decades of global experience spanning new buildings, classification society, ship owner, and the broader maritime research and innovation ecosystem. So Dr. Rahim brings a unique perspective, bridging regulatory frameworks, sustainability goals, and commercial realities. And he has played a key role in promoting green recycling practices and Hong Kong Convention compliance among ship owners and recyclers alike. So I welcome Dr. Rahim to this webinar. We have one more elite speaker with us, Mr. Haresh Parmar, who is representing from India. He is currently the Secretary of Ship Recycling Industries Association, and he is representing about 150 ship recycling yards in India. Mr. Parmar is actively liaises with regulators, international bodies, and ship owners to promote sustainable ship and recycling practices in India. So I welcome Mr. Parmar from India for this webinar. And we have Mr. Asif Khan attending this webinar, who is currently the Vice President of Pakistan Shipbreakers and Recyclers Association. He has been proactive advocate of modernizing Pakistan's ship recycling practices and aligning with the international conventions such as HKC. He represents the industry in key dialogues with the government, investors, and international stakeholders, aiming to build a safer, cleaner, and more competitive recycling sector in Pakistan. So I welcome Mr. Asif Khan to this webinar. We have Mr. Zahirul Islam representing the Bangladesh Shipbreakers and Recyclers Association. He is currently, when you think of HKC in Bangladesh, we think of Mr. Zahirul's name because he has achieved HKC compliance, the first one to achieve it 5 years back. But he is today representing as a capacity of as an entire Bangladesh ship recyclers representative. His leadership is helping Bangladesh transition toward a more structured, transparent, and convention aligned ship recycling practices. The last but not the least, Mr. Dimitris, who is the head business development and external affairs, LEYAL Ship Recycling Group from Turkey. He is representing the entire ship recycling industry in Turkey today. Mr. Dimitris is basically, if you look at the ship recycling events from last 15 years, Dimitris has been a face of Turkey. He brings the perspective of a mature, high regulation ship recycling environment that complements the global HKC implementation landscape. This is the brief introduction of our participants, and not wasting much of the time, heading directly to the questions. My question to Mr. Dimitris: can you briefly share the key milestones in your country's journey towards implementing HKC since 2009? And what major shifts have you seen till 2025? And the same question applies to all participants, but I will ask one by one, starting with Dimitris. Over to you.
Thank you, Anand. Hello to everyone. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to GMS for the kind invitation to participate in this webinar. Well, Turkey embarked on the ship recycling journey in the late 1970s, so it goes a long way back. But the turning point for us was the first ILO Basel Convention Working Group in 2005. And from then started the active involvement of both the maritime, the environment, and the labor authorities of Turkey in the deliberations for the drafting of the Hong Kong Convention and its guidelines. And it's by no means that the participation of the Turkish delegation of the IMO was supported by people and experts, not only from the maritime industry, but also from the environment and labor and industry. Turkey was also the very first country to apply the Basel Convention for the transboundary movement of ships. That was done back in 2004 in the case of a German Navy vessel. Therefore, by the time the convention was adopted in 2009, Turkey was already in a mature path with respect to what was then called green ship recycling. And with the delay of the entry into force of the Hong Kong Convention, the focus of Turkey and Turkish yards mainly turned to the EU ship recycling regulation, which since has been the main driver, let's say the main external driver for Turkish ship recycling. Something that is also giving us a kind of a competitive advantage as far as the application of the mechanics of the Hong Kong Convention are concerned, since the EU SRR and the HKC share a common certification mechanism. So, long story short, between 2009 and 2025, there was slow steps, let's say, with respect to the Hong Kong Convention, but a lot was happening in Turkey, primarily driven from the EU SRR.
Thank you, Dimitri. You brought in a very good perspective. But as I was going through online, I could see there are about 11 HKC SOC yards, as per the Classification Society's issued SOC, and Turkey has about 22 ship recycling yards, right? Um, so how is it about from tomorrow? Like the yards which are not SOC compliant need to be compliant with some class, or in Turkey they will accept that if you're already a compliant yard. So how exactly it is going to be?
You are correct that today in Turkey there are 22 separately licensed facilities. Only a number of those, as you mentioned, 11 are on the EU list. However, the certification of the Turkish facilities under the Hong Kong Convention is a separate process, and it is administered obviously by the Turkish competent authorities. So the expectation is that all the Turkish ship recycling facilities will receive the document authorization to conduct ship recycling under the framework of the Hong Kong Convention, potentially with the exception of one yard, which will not be, which will not go live as of today, as there were a couple of shortcomings identified during the last round of inspections. But these are more, let's say, straightforward technical issues that will be resolved. So today, let's say, the expectation is we have 21 yards coming live for the Hong Kong Convention, plus one more over the next coming, let's say, weeks or months. So the total capacity of Turkey will be certified, licensed under SKC standards.
Well, thank you so much for bringing that clarity. So 21 HKC SOC yards with DASR coming up in Turkey. That's a good news. My question to Mr. Haresh Parmar, are you there on the line, sir? Yes. But what it has been to India. So you have heard from Dimitri from Turkey, where it has been all the swing of USRR later. But what was it India from 2009 to 2025?
Yeah, it's a very good question. From very beginning, from the 2009, I have appeared first time in Thailand for this Hong Kong Convention guideline conference was there. India was firstly, I can say like that, India was not in favor of the Hong Kong Convention once they started. But slowly we understood Michaelis, all these thoughts and what is the necessity of Hong Kong Convention and ship recycling. So India journey starts, I can say, after 2012. So India has made the significant strides in this journey towards the implementation of Hong Kong Convention, particularly since its ratification in 2019. First of all, our Indian government has introduced the Ship Recycling Act 2019. As mentioned, India passed the comprehensive national law to align its domestic regulation in line with the Hong Kong Convention. This act lays down the framework for the environmentally sound and safe ship recycling practice in India so that India can ratify the Hong Kong Convention. Second, I can say Alang itself is transformation. Alang made a very big transformation, one of the world's largest recycling yard over the years. There has been a significant push to upgrade facilities in Alang to meet the international standards, including those of the HKC. Many yards in Alang is now are certified. I can say out of 131 yard, 115 yard are now with the certificate of compliance with their yard have. That means 87% of the yard have been certified by the various societies. So I can say our journey actually starts from 2013. 3 yards are already started with their yard upgradation. And first we got with my friend Chintan Kalathia. He is the first one to get the SOC in 2015. And after that, we all comes to know that this is necessary in future progress. So Indian government have already made very good works on worker safety and training, tunnel regulation, spread the comprehensive worker health and safety. Then includes requirement for safety training, maintenance workers record, and medical monitoring and occupational illness. This regulation also a very good guideline for the inventory of hazardous IHMs. So it will be very helpful to our for the health and environmental issues in India. So in all these IHM, which are crucial identifying and managing hazardous material on board of the ship. So it will be very easy for us to handle it and to dispose of in a proper manner. After that, infrastructure development. We have made a very huge investment in our yard. All the yards have been, you know very well about that. They have invested a huge amount for the infrastructure for ship recycling yard, including the better contaminated facility for the hazardous waste, upgrading the dismantling areas and improving an impermeable floor, living condition of the workers, and so many things. Huge machinery, barges, lifting the cranes and everything. I can say all over this, India is ratification of the Hong Kong Convention in 2019 and the enactment of this domestic recycling ship at position. It will commence entry into force in June 2025. This signifies India's commitment transforming ship recycling industry into more sustainable, safe, and environmentally responsible sector, which is major shift to the global maritime industry. You well over that. Tomorrow, and this 30th of this June, our shipping ministry, DG Shipping, Ship Recycling Industries Association, and Gujarat Maritime Board are conducting one whole day seminar, because this is a very big event for us, because today is the birthday of this Hong Kong Convention. So that is a very big event. We are going to make it over here in Vancouver, and all the dignitaries are coming, and we are showing the world how we changed from 2009 to 2025. This is the Indian journey, and we hope it is constantly changing. We will change every day, every time, whenever it needed. Our government is taking keen interest. You know that our hospital is now world-class level 3 hospital, which is as per the EU standards. Our TSDF site is also as per the EU standards now. Whatever the hazardous waste, we cannot handle it over in our TSDF site. Our government has made a contract with the various agencies throughout the India, and association made the arrangement to send their waste to that agency all over the India by our association help. So government and association are working very hard, not only the Hong Kong Convention, but beyond that level also. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the very comprehensive answer, and you have answered most of the things which India has done from 2009 to 2015. One thing which you said that in 2015 the first yard achieved HKC, and then the rest of the yards started realizing it becomes necessary. Was it a necessary, or was it a kind of a shift in the mindset, or is it like something like, yes, HKC is possible for us to do? Because till yesterday it was voluntary HKC, but today it's mandatory. But from last 16 years, it was voluntary as well. So how you want to put that?
Yeah, it is always like that. What was this first 3 yards, including this GMS and GMS, this Lila and this Kalathia and Sanjay Bhai Mehta, all their cash buyers yards were there. But thing is that they know the reality of the shipping industry, because they are in the cash buying business as well as the shipping business. So they all this idea comes first in their mind, and it always been happening that we have to learn from something good from the other one. So all industry is learning that. And you can see that it is 115 yards are compliance voluntary. It is a very big achievement for India.
Thank you so much for that. Jahir bhai, there was no leader for you to lead, and you became a leader. What do you want to say about that? How was your journey and the journey of Bangladesh ship recycling yards from 2009 till date?
I think it was a wonderful journey. It was very difficult, but it was very fruitful as well. Because everyone said that responsible ship recycling was not possible in Bangladesh, especially the NGOs, the way they attacked us from day one was very difficult. But we showed the world that not only responsible but sustainable ship recycling is also possible in Bangladesh. So the key milestones I would like to mention is that the SENSREC, Safe and Environmentally Sound Ship Recycling in Bangladesh, was a project introduced by the Norwegian government, and it was executed by IMO. So the phase one started in 2015. So that phase, the phase one of SENSREC, really made us believe that Hong Kong Convention was achievable and it was doable, because we have sometimes some kind of regulations which is not possible to achieve, but we understood that Hong Kong Convention was achievable, and Dr. Nikos Michaelis and Susan Wingfield from BRS, they played a very strong role to make sure that SENSREC project started in Bangladesh, and that one I think was a turning point for us. And also, it helped us to bridge the gap between the regulators and also the ship recyclers. Because the regulators, the government people, they are not supportive of the industry. Sometimes industry is reluctant to go to the regulators because we feel that they will not support us. But this sales rec project really bridged the gap. And in 2017, PHP became the first recycling facility in Bangladesh to achieve statement of compliance for Hong Kong Convention from class RINA. That really changed the momentum in the government officials. So the government people started believing that if one can do, then others can do as well. In 2018, the government of Bangladesh enacted the Ship Recycling Act. The Ship Recycling Act was a kind of a copy of the Hong Kong Convention regulations, but little bit more than the basic HKC. So in 2018, the government took a bold step and made sure that the Hong Kong Convention is followed, and that all the yards come into one regulation, one Ship Recycling Act. And in 2023, I think the most important milestone was when Bangladesh ratified Hong Kong Convention, 25th of June 2023, and making sure that the hard work of Dr. Nikos Michaelis and Mr. Oftedel and everyone from IMO and all the ship recycling state and shipping companies, that it didn't go in vain. So Bangladesh played a very strong role in making sure that today we see that Hong Kong Convention comes into force, and it is a tremendous work of Bangladesh and the way we made sure that we ratified on time for it to come into force. And regarding the yards, we have 13 yards now approved by our government. These 13 yards, if we compare to India, our plot sizes are very big. Each of us can bring 3 to 4 ships at a time. So 13 means around, compared to Indian yards, around 40 yards. So we are not that behind, and another 15 to 20 yards are in completion of their work. Around 80% work is done. So hopefully within this year, we will have around 30 yards that will be HKC approved, and 30 yards will be, compared to other Indian yards or Turkish yards, it will be around 80 to 90 Indian yards. So we're in a good position, and I'm really thankful that we are in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, and also bringing in the very important point that 15 yards of Bangladesh can say is equal to 40 yards of India when it comes to the size of the yards. But you also brought in very important point about DASR. Now HKC is in force. Like what you see that the yards which are complied with the HKC compliance will get a DASR, or how it is going to be like? the people who are already working with the class, or they have achieved the very good improvement? Is there any decision made on that so far?
So the Japanese government has been involved with the process of helping our government to understand how to issue DSR and what will be the role of the government once Hong Kong Convention comes into force. Even yesterday, we had a training of around 300 people from different shipyards that how the DSR will be issued and what kind of documents we need to expect from the ship owners. So DSR, we have two ways to go forward. One is the yards that have completed 100% as per HKC. They are issued SRF approved ship recycling facility plan and then can bring ships anytime. And then the yards that have completed 80% or more may get a provisional DSR for 6 months with a time frame and a schedule that how they will complete the remaining of the work. And then they can get this provisional SRFP approval, because the thing is that the banks are not investing for HKC upgradation, and the ship owners have not in last 15 years come forward to help any of the ship recyclers. So we need to recycle, earn money and reinvest. And in Bangladesh, as I said, the size of the plots are very big. We need $7 to $10 million just to upgrade a traditional yard into HKC. That's a lot of effort. So this provisional DSR will play a very important role, I think, in the next 6 to 8 months' time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing that clarity. Mr. Asif has been waiting very patiently. I want to hear from him. What is it for Gadani, Pakistan, 2009, 2025? Last 2 years, you guys have been very active, taking a lot of initiatives, trying to comply few yards at least for HKC. Where are we today, and what do you want to say about this journey?
Good day to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Anand, for giving this opportunity. Actually, Pakistan joined the race, quite late. While the yards were still working on the upgradation since last 3-4 years. However, there was lack of support from the government side. Unfortunately, when the Hong Kong Convention came, ratified about 2 years back in 2023, thereafter, the government started to move on it. We are still waiting for the Ship Recycling Act to come out. Hopefully it will, it's already sorted out. And we hope in next 2, 3, 4 weeks, we will have that. However, we know which authority is, like we had the draft copy and it's been approved by the cabinet, but it's awaiting approval by the parliament. So we know now what direction we have to go. From the government side, there was a lot of delays, but anyway, the matter has been resolved. Things are going. None of the yard is HKC compliant, unfortunately, at this moment. However, as I have mentioned earlier as well and discussed with several friends, 11 of our yards are working on the HKC compliance in the phase 1. Out of the 11 yards, we have like 5 yards will be compliant. Hopefully, they will get the SOC in next 4 to 6 weeks' time. Because they have the SRFP ready, submitted already to the class. They have the yard already, completed with whatever civil works and other, facilities which has to be created on the yard, that is completed. So we expect, the documentation phase, there were certain issues highlighted by the class on the SRFP, which the ship recycler is currently taking care. So hopefully in next 4 to 6 weeks, we will, inshallah, all going well, will have 4 to 6 yards compliance, complied with the HKC. The rest of the guys are following up. We'll have another batch of 5 years, which will get the compliance hopefully in next 6 to 8 weeks' time. And then rest will be by the end of the year. So we will, what I expect, and looking at the Pakistani, conditions, I think altogether in next, we will have 10 yards compliant in next, 10 weeks time. So that is our status on the yard. We had several problems, We started late on this HKC. We had internal issues. We had like a lot of trading from the trading side as well. Last 3 years, there is hardly any business. The business is quite low. And when the business is low, of course, the investor also get, like, doesn't take that much interest, when the work is not going. But anyway, due to our, consistent consultation with the recyclers, with the government, and everybody, all the stakeholders, things have started to roll out, and inshallah, we will soon have, as I said, some yards coming up very soon. So that is the status of what we have. And now, 4, 5, 6 months back, our Prime Minister has formed a special task force for revamping of the maritime sector industry, including the ship recycling, which is a good move from the Prime Minister's side, from the government. The government is now quite keenly involved and pushing for the revamping of the industry. So I think it's a good move, and Gadani recycling will be, will be compliant in next few months' time.
Thank you so much for bringing that clarity. What is it for the ship owners now? Because now the yards need to comply, and there might be certain ships which are already on the way, and whether the government will accept and give an exemption to the yard for a certain time. You have any news on that?
Well, we are working with the government, and like the DASR, and for the ships which are there are not many ships on the yard at present. Any case, whoever is there, there are 1 or 2 ships which are there. They all need to comply with the HKC conditions, because HKC has been ratified and the government departments are working on it. So they will have to prepare the IHM. They'll have to follow the HKC rules, and whatever required to be done under the HKC, they will do it. For the new arrival, we are in touch with the government, and those yards who have complied the work on their yards, to 80-90% extent minimum, and who's got the SRFP sorted out, those yards who has the SRFP already submitted to the classification society like class NK or Bureau Veritas, and who complied with other, whatever required under the national law, will probably get the interim DASR, for the ships, for the purchase of new ships. Otherwise, those who have not done or not made any significant progress on the SRFP or on the yard will not be allowed to recycle any ship at present until the time they upgrade their facilities.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. We have Dr. Rahim with us from 2009-2025, when HKC was still voluntary. He was wearing a hat of classification society. So what it has been, and as a class, what you have seen in those days from 2009 till date, what was the journey was, we were with class NK for a very, very long time, and you have seen the HKC compliance from China to Turkey to India to Bangladesh. So what exactly you feel today?
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to wherever you are. Yes, as Dr. Anand just mentioned, I was with Class NK for 32 years in my past work life. And during that time, I was also involved with the HKC certification of yachts in South Asia. And I should tell that Class NK has been in the forefront of certifying yachts with HKC. And the world's first HKC statement of compliance was issued in 2012 to a Chinese yard, Jiangmen Chongqing Shipbreaking and Steel Company Limited. But that certification has been discontinued because, in 2017, Chinese government has changed their policy of recycling foreign flagships in China. Then in 2015, the first Indian yard was certified by Class and K, as Mr. Parmar has mentioned. And in 2017, the first yard NK certified was E6 Sun Ship Recycling and Trading. And then the real breakthrough came in 2020, to be exactly 15th January 2020, where the first yard in Bangladesh was certified by NK, which was none other than PHP Shipbreaking and Recycling Industries. Of course, I can see smile in Zahir's face. He's the managing director of the company. And I hope Pakistan will follow soon. And as Mr. Asif Khan has mentioned, quite a number of yards will be ready within this year. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you for bringing the perspective of a class, but now you also wear a hat of a ship owning side, working with GMS. So how you believe that you see any differences in interpretation of the HKC compliance from the ship owner perspective, the ship recycler perspective, and how this might be competitive or sustainable?
Okay, that's a good question. I think for ship owners, HKC gives great hope that this is a solution to their questions on their ship recycling policy. That is to recycle their ships in a safe, environmentally sound, and socially responsible manner in full compliance with HKC. So many ship owners have already geared up by completing IHM for their fleet and also adequately maintaining the IHM. And LEYAL Global, where I work for now as a ship owner, is applying this policy to the vessels that we own. So in general, ship owners should be committed to ensure that ships are recycled at facilities compliant with the HKC and approved by competent authorities. They should maintain and update the IHM. So my basic suggestion to ship owners is to select recycling facilities that are authorized by their national authorities in compliance with the HKC. And also, the ship owners should ensure that the selected recycling facility prepare and submit a ship recycling plan specific to the vessel to be recycled, and also conduct due diligence and audits of selected recycling facilities, including site visits where feasible. They should also report and record all recycle activities in compliance with flag state and port state obligations. And not only the starting point, but they should monitor and review the policy, maybe annually or upon significant regulatory change. And also they should train the staff and ensure awareness of ship recycling responsibilities among the shore and shipboard personnel. Over to you.
Yeah. So I have one more question for you. That you know that you were with Class NK, and you Class NK was the first to issue an SOC in India, at least when it came to India and back in 2015. Do you feel that was a game changer? And do you feel that once the yard got an HKC SOC, and then the ship owners started believing that yes, the green recycling is possible here? Or is it that the ship owners themselves came and did a vetting post their Class NK's SOC and got that confidence?
No, indeed, the first certification always makes a huge impact. And, I really have to appreciate the yards who came forward to do the voluntary certification, because till today, this was purely voluntary. But they found that if the yard has a certification, the proactive owners will definitely send their ships to these yards. So that is what happened. So it's actually triggered, like in India and in Bangladesh, the first yard certification, once it came up, the others just queued up for certification because they know there is gain, especially financial gain, to get.
Thank you. Mr. Parmar, I keep on traveling and hearing a lot about that the Indian government has given a huge funding and technical and financial support to the Alang ship recycling yards. That's why they could able to easily develop 100 plus yards. How true is it, and what is your opinion on this?
Yes, Indian government has given a lots of uh, fund to, and there are many policies which is helpful to ship recycling yard. I can say, first of all, uh, we have urged our government, because this our ship recycling yard should be at par with the melting scrap import. First of all, we got the 0% custom duty from last 5 years, and this year it was the last year of that. And again, our association requested Government of India have reduced remove this 2.5% custom duty from next 10 years to reboost this ship recycling industry. This is the first step. Second step, I can say, we all yard now have been complied with the this impermeable floor and everything. And in this, our government, our shipping ministry, it given us a 50 lakh rupees of fund, which is already from the ship recycling fund. Only our ship recycler have been raised fund before so many years, but they have given us a financial support from their fund, that ship recycling fund, 50 lakhs financial assistance provided for each HKC compliance plot from the fund accumulated by us earlier. Introducing Ship Recycling Act 2019, preparing, now government is also preparing a new draft for ship recycling for 2025. Upgradation of our TSDF side and our hospital, this our multi-speciality hospital up to EU standards. There is a huge investment our government is making in that. Now all facility, which is as compared to some big city like a multi-speciality hospital is in Alang. Many ambulance ICU on wheels is also introduced by our association as well as the government. Worker housing colony, there is one big housing colony with the number of 1,008 laborers are already prepared. And for rest of our somewhere around 8,000 labor, we have already accumulated the huge fund. Government has also given us a huge fund for that. There is also, it is with the government. And we requested them to build a housing colony in front of the yard as per the our requirement for the Hong Kong Convention. The government is also preparing for master planning on that. Government hired very well known agency, SAPT, which is the one of the best institute in India. They are making a whole along as a planning for the next coming 25 years. So, but in all this preparation, the major hurdles are to the manufacturing TMT bar with the limited thickness from the ship plates, which we are facing the problem. The government is also working on that, and they are continuously in contact with the Ship Recycling Industries Association, and hopefully we get the positive response from the Ministry of Steel in near future. As far as the government of Gujarat or Maritime Board is concerned, they are always taking keen interest in the ship recycling yard. They have reduced our financial collection as far as they are taking as a plot rent or plot development charges by 50% because of this recession in this industry from last 5 years. And whenever we are requesting them, they are always with us for the helpful to reboost these industries. So I can say, as far as the state government as well as the central government is concerned, they are very much taking keen interest of this. The biggest achievement for us is that also that is a double GST in our Indian registry ship. That is also resolved by our government. So now we can buy the Indian registry ship with the single GST because it was also a problem. So whenever we have a problem, if we goes to the central government as well as the state government, they wants to solve it out as early as possible. And we are getting a good response from our government. Thank you.
With 100 plus HKC compliant yards, good support from the government, HKC now coming into force, BIMCO predicting 15,000 plus ships coming for recycling. Do you think it's a competitive advantage for India compared to India and Pakistan and Bangladesh? Or what extra we might need to do as an industry?
Pardon? Your voice breaks, sir. Pardon, can you?
So with having 100 plus ship recycling yards with the full support from the government, and as well as BIMCO predicting the 15,000 plus ships to come for recycling. Do you think they will have any competitive advantage compared to Bangladesh and Pakistan?
Absolutely.
India has.
You can see that we have somewhere around 115 yards at present, while Bangladesh and Pakistan have in a number of yards are very less. Turkey has some very few yards in compared to India. So definitely, if the flow is coming, India will be the most beneficiary in near future. Till the Pakistan and Bangladesh are fully as good as the India, they have fully compliance with the each yard. So India definitely will be in driving position if the flow is more. But nowadays, we are facing the problem because very few ship, 4 or 5 ship in a month, these are nothing for the Alang is concerned. Because you can see that we have invested a huge amount in our yard. And from last 4 years, all are sitting idle and there is no business on that. So we hope the flow should come and we should be beneficiary of that.
Dimitri, India being very optimistic, what do you want to say on that? You have 22 yards, 21 DSR yards, HKC compliance, USRR plus. How you think all the ship recycling countries can work together to collectively raise the standard of HKC and to have an equal amount of business as well? You think it's possible?
Thank you. Well, the pie is going to be very big. We have a delayed flow of ships for recycling. So during the COVID years, there was a big flow of ships, and then suddenly everything stopped. So all these ships are piling up. They're getting older. So these ships will come up. In a recent study, they estimated 15,000 ships will come of age in the next 10 years. And if we look at the numbers, these are huge compared to the past. You also have to consider that ships are getting bigger. So the ships that we will now be receiving for recycling are the ships that were built in the late 1990s, early 2000. And there was a step change in the size of ships, which means that it will take us longer to recycle ships. All this means that the pie will become bigger and there will be business for everyone. Obviously, each location has its own, let's say, advantages and disadvantages. In the case of Turkey, we have the additional benefit of being an OECD country. And in that sense, we can receive ships originating also from Europe or other OECD countries where those ships fall under the framework of the Basel Convention, which we should not forget is still out there. But as Turkey, we also have a number of EU-approved facilities. So there we get access to ships that others don't. So we think that we all have a big part to play in this, and more so today than when the Hong Kong Convention was actually adopted, as we're now becoming a critical part of the equation in this circularity drive. Converting ships to steel through the process of ship recycling in a way that reduces also carbon emissions. So I'm very optimistic actually for all of us moving forward.
Thank you, Dimitri, for that. Now we have we are almost completed 45 minutes. We might have to take a few quick questions. Before that, if you want to summarize in one word, like in what is next 2 years for your country, now HKC is in force. And do you really think HKC has done enough before even it has come into force, or still a long way to go? Start with Mr. Zahirul Islam.
Actually, what I've seen in the ground level, there has been a paradigm shift in the way ship recycling is done now, because the traditional way and the Hong Kong Convention, the way we have adopted, and the way our act guides us to develop our yard, I think the yard looks fantastic with the infrastructure we have. But we are still, we are talking about the BIMCO report. It feels like a myth to me because last 3 years after the COVID, we have not received not too many ships actually. So I don't know whether the BIMCO report will be true in a couple of years' time or whether we will still be having less ships. I don't know. But I think we have become responsible. I think it's very high time for the ship owners to become responsible as well. and they need to choose responsibly so that they don't go for top dollars, but they go for quality outcomes. So I think the next 2 years, in the perspective of ship recyclers, I think we need to develop and make sure that all the yards are in line with Hong Kong Convention and they can operate. We don't want to leave behind any of our colleagues because together we are stronger. And also for the ship owners in next 2 years' time, I think once they are ready, they should send their vessels and we should get a price benefit so that the investments we have made in last 10 years' time, we should get a return on our investment as well right now. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think Mr. Haresh ji and Asif ji has already answered in short about what they are expecting for next couple of years with advantage. Asif ji also has given a very brief of about where HKC is when it comes to Pakistan, and they already have a board in place. They are working. They were a bit behind, but they will pick up very quickly. And he assures that if everything goes well, they will also be on the track. So thank you so much for that. And it's time to take some few questions. If you can see your chat box, one of the question which one participant has asked, like, what is the challenge of issuing an IRRC for an HKC compliant yard? I can quickly, as a moderator, I'm not supposed to answer it, but if Mr. Zahirul Islam can answer that, it would be good.
I think there are a lot of confusion right now. What will happen with DASR and other certificates
IRRC.
that IRRC that we need to get from our government as well, and also the flag state, how they will also prepare. So I think we need a lot of communication between all the government agencies, first of all. And also in this regard, I think the cash buyers like GMS can play a strong role in this regard, that how to bridge the gap. I already know Mr. Anand is in Chittagong right now. He's helping many of the ship recyclers to overcome these hurdles. And I think if we can improve the communications, I think the issues can be solved within relatively short time.
Thank you for that answer. Now, an interesting question which people want to know is that how much of employment each country has given to its workers because of ship recycling. Quickly, if I start with a number from Mr. Haresh Parmar ji.
Yeah, and if you're talking about the India, we have somewhere around 8,000 to 10,000 direct employment have been given by the ship recyclers directly working into the yard. So the 8,000 to 10,000 workers are working directly. And if we're talking about the ancillary industries like rolling mill, furnace plant and gas plant and another industries, like somewhere around 2 lakh to 2.5 lakh people are indirectly rely on the ship recycling industry. So it is a very huge employment generation industry, and that's why our Indian government is always taking a keen interest to reboost this industry because of the huge employment generation.
Dimitri, how much of employment is Turkey currently giving its workers?
In Turkey, we have approximately 1,500 directly employed in the ship recycling sector. And if I may take this opportunity just to complement the answer by Zahir on the IR, International Ready for Recycling Certificate, there is experience with the classification societies in issuing ready for recycling certificates, because almost all of the major ones have issued ready for recycling certificates under the framework of the EU Ship Recycle Regulation. The mechanics are exactly the same. And I can tell you one thing that we have come across as an issue, at least at the beginning, is this confusion with the tacit versus explicit approval of the ship recycling plan and how this is demonstrated to the classification society. But the experience is already there from 7 years of application of EU ship recycling regulation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dimitri. And Pakistan, when we come, Gadani, how much of employment is it generating currently? To the
When we had like 125 ships in a year, we were employing roughly around 20,000 direct workers in Kadani, and around 500,000 people were involved in the downstream sector, like the cottage industries and steel rolling mills and transporters and so on. Nowadays, from 125 ships, we are left with only 10, 12 ships, maximum per year during the last 3-4 years, and currently it's all, roughly maybe 1,000, 1,500 people altogether on the operating yards, because only 4-5 yards are operating and only limited ships are coming. And as Zahir has said, we are all living in the hope of BIMCO figures. I wish it come true in my lifetime at least, but I don't know. For the last 3 years, we are all waiting and spending tremendous amount of money on the yard. I hope the day will come when we will, get some benefits out of it. Let's hope for the best. Thank you.
Yeah. The last one, Mr. Jair, how much of employment is it providing in Bangladesh?
As per the Senstrec project report of phase 1, we have around 30,000 people directly employed and about 1 million people indirectly with the downstream management. So that's a huge impact. But I think in the shorter term, in next 6 months to 1 year, it will come down to around 12 to 15,000 because less yards will be in operation. But I think it will pick up again end of next year by engaging more people once more yards are certified or approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are almost 55 minutes. We've exceeded 10 minutes of the webinar time slot. As we come close of this insightful session, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to all our distinguished speakers, starting from Dr. Abdul Rahim, Mr. Haresh Parmar, Mr. Asif Khan, Mr. Zahirul Islam, and Mr. Dimitris, for sharing their perspectives, progress, and challenges in navigating the transition towards full Hong Kong Convention compliance. Your country-specific insights and collective commitment to safer, greener ship recycling practices are not only encouraging, but also vital as HKC is already in force. To all our participants who joined from different parts of the world, thank you for your time, engagement, and thoughtful questions. I know I could only take few questions, but I must tell you all the questions were very, very good. We hope today's session helped deepen your understanding of where the industry stands, where it's headed. This concludes session 2 of our 3-part HKC webinar series organized by GMS. We look forward to your continued participation in the next session, which is going to be next in another 20-15 minutes, I'm sure. Stay tuned. Thank you once again, and wishing you all a continued success in your efforts towards responsible ship recycling. All the best. Thank you.